Yo! What's up, dudes? Look who is in the basement.
Boys and girls, welcome back.
What I really have to work on is not writing words, but writing music. God, it's like I've been trying to write music for like the last couple of years. I got like nothing down.
Writing music is one of the things I get dinged on a lot is like you play the same old thing. And duly noted, it's hard to just, unless you're taking, you have the time, I have a, kids, I don't spend 8 hours a day. I wish I spent 2 hours a day playing. I don't.
Right.
And to write music and to come up with creative things, it's hard.
Yeah.
It's very, very difficult to just come up with new creative stuff. The guys on YouTube that actually do like songs as part of the demo, and they have like these tracks that I'm floored by it.
Oh, same here.
It's incredible what you could do in terms of music, and just to come up with this, bone crushing riff that they just wrote for the sake of using it as a demo. It's like,
I think part
impressive
of it for me, and I think this happens to me writing words as well as writing music, is that coming up with a workflow.
Yes.
So it's like, sometimes when I'm writing for my work, I can sort of write up a quick little outline, how I want to respond to things, how I want to work things out, what I want to say, and do that. And I keep telling myself, well, if you just get the workflow down for the music.
That's a good point. I do the same thing.
And I just make it easier for myself to just record. Maybe I would do some more recording.
So this is a test.
Or any recording.
I'm going to do this. I just learned something new. You're right, by the way. So, and I do the same thing. When you write something, you want to make a specific point. So usually you'll do like an introduction. You'll do a reason why I'm writing. You'll talk about, why you're writing, whatever it is that you're writing. You'll put the body, the context in there, and then you'll wrap it up.
Right.
And usually there's some bare bone structure to that. I think, especially with guitar, at least myself, but there's too much noodling, and there's no structure. And you know what? When there's no structure, it just sounds like like I did a song. I was working with two people, Peter J. Cruz on.
I know Peter.
Yeah, I was fantastic dude, by the way. I was working on a song with him that he's working on, and then another one was actually Rob Chapman that we were talking at NAMM, and he was like, he gave me some advice. He said it's all about the music. He said, you should concentrate on writing songs, just what you just said.
Right.
And he said, I'll produce a song for you. Because he uses Rabia to produce the song. Rabia was going to produce the song. And so I did this rough track just to give them kind of what was on my mind. And I figured I could have done that offline and just let them do it. But I wanted to share I like showing the progression. So I put the video on it was called Lives. And I put it on YouTube. And some people critiqued me saying, dude, there's no structure to the song. And they're right. There was no structure. It's because I had this thing.
It's just a fragment.
It's a fragment, correct.
Right.
But what I didn't do, and this is the advice you just gave me, is to say, what am I trying to say?
Right.
So maybe you, like a letter, you do something to open it up. Maybe you have the song built in and then something to wrap it up. If you write a song like a letter, and I didn't think about this when I was writing it, it was just a cool riff that I really liked, and I had some words behind it.
Sure.
But I didn't write the song like I would have written a letter. And perhaps if I'd done that, there would have been a little more structure to it.
And I think that the letter analogy does work well. And I think that sometimes I'll look at something I'm writing, for work, and I'll say it needs something here. This is a little ambiguous. Let's clarify this. And it was funny because I had this piece of software, and it's not something I would probably use on a regular basis, but it was just this sort of weird thing that had like sort of just a bunch of pre-canned like little bits, and you just sort of drag them down on a timeline, and then next thing you know, you have a song together.
Right.
So it's like intro, part A, part B, pre-chorus, chorus, part A, part B. And so I'm putting it together.
What is that? That's software?
It was software. It was...
Because I think the new drummer, I forget what it's called, the drummer program, something Drummer 2 has that built in.
Right. It's
Easy Drummer?
Easy Drummer. Very similar, right, in its workflow. And... this one had like bass lines, little keyboard lines, but you would have to choose the right key, right? Because they're not just going to work with each other, right? So unless you're going to transpose them,
right?
You really have got to, it's a smaller palette than you might think. You look at thousands and thousands of samples, and you realize only a few dozen are going to work with each other. But as I was listening to it back, I was like, geez, as we come out of that chorus, it just doesn't feel right. It just feels weird. And I realized it needed just a little break. And sure enough, I went through and I found a break that had no tone to it, so it could be any key,
right?
Just a little drum break, and I put it in there, and I was like, perfect. There it is. And I think that sometimes that sort of easy workflow just helps us get going. It's almost like analysis paralysis or like information overload. It's like when you have a blank page like that, there's like so many places you can go with it, it's hard to know where to even start.
And that was always my biggest problem with writing songs was when I write a song, especially when I record a song, I always felt like I had to record it from start to finish. Like as if you were at a beach campfire and you want to play the whole song and sing the whole song through.
Right.
Peter actually taught me something because he was working on another song. And I gave him a rough scratch of what I had and with some notes of like, this is kind of like the verse, the intro. What he did was he actually sliced it or spliced it and said, this is your verse. And you could take this block and put it anywhere you want.
Right.
And this is your, and I don't know how he did it, if he quantized, whatever he did, he like cleaned it up.
Right.
And so I had like, this was my intro, this was my verse, this was my chorus. And in that song I said, because I was talking while I was playing, I was like, check out the solo, whatever. And like, this was the block for the solo. By the way, I asked him to do the solo, would you do the solo on the song? But he taught me that, you could also think in blocks, like you just said, but from the recording process, the production component, if you have like one of the things was you could play the chorus 10 times and then pick the best take, splice it out, that's your chorus. Or your verse, or your this or that. You plug them together like a puzzle, and boom, you have your song. You don't have to do start to finish, because you're always going to screw something up, and then it's like, if you have to keep doing that over and over and over again, by the time you're done, you want to walk away and you don't even want to be bothered. It's like, becomes frustrating after a while.
I was so used to a 4-track Porta Studio. I had a little Tascam Porta
I had the
Studio,
Tascam too.
So I'm so used to that sort
Porta
of workflow.
02?
Right. I had the Porta. I think I had the Porta 01. I think I had the original one.
I think I got into the 02.
Yeah. And, you know what? I might have had the 02. I forget the little flat colored discs.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was the 02.
That was
I
it.
have my cassettes. I actually have my songs. I wrote songs back then.
Just a quick aside, there's a chain up here that just went out of business, but they used to be all the rage, called Building 19. And they bought out Sam Ash after Sam Ash had a fire. And there was $5.99 for that Porta Studio, and I paid $279 with a slightly sooty box. But inside was perfect.
Yep.
But I was used to, you would start the recorder and you would play the song all the way through. And then I have
you couldn't edit,
you couldn't edit, non-linear editing. You didn't have anything like that. But I got Cakewalk, which later became Sonar, and I had a buddy come over, and I'm going like, just this little picking thing. He's like, all right, we have enough. I go, what are you talking about? He's like, we already did several measures. I'll pick out the best measure.
Right,
and we'll
that's
just
what Peter was telling me.
slice that.
That's
He goes,
right.
and then I'll just repeat it for the rest of the song. And I was like, okay. And
See,
of course, it sounds perfect.
I'm still in the old Tascam of start to finish, and you know what?
Yeah,
that
same.
becomes noodling after a while.
Yeah. It's where we come from, and the thought of just, again, it's workflow, right?
Workflow.
Workflow.
Workflow. It's important.